Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. And on the day when Labour begin their conference with Starmer wanting to focus on their main threat, Reform UK, it's worth taking a look at how easily musician Billy Bragg exposed the stupidity in Farage's entire philosophy on Question Time a couple of days ago. Because as I was saying a day or two ago, simply countering Farage's arguments alone won't work. Tribalism is the enemy of rational debate. Farage's operation needs to be ridiculed in a way that everyone can see how ridiculous it is. But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button to stay notified.
So he was willing to believe a Muslim taxi driver in Buckinghamshire rather than believe the scientific establishment when they're talking, this guy wants to be Prime Minister, you must be joking.
So I've been doing a bit on how Farage's nonsense works politically lately, but explaining the tricks behind it is only half the battle. How do you counter it? The problem, just to recap very briefly, is that Farage and other populists take advantage of the way our brains work. They create urgent threats which keep people in a constant state of feeling threatened. They create a them and us dynamic. You combine this with record low levels of trust in establishment institutions, and you have a recipe for disaster. Take Brexit, for example. This was the moment when I really wanted to learn how the psychology of populism works, because it was an incredible outcome for me. You know, there have been times in the past when I thought people have voted for something that I thought was the wrong option, of course, but I understand that there were arguments on both sides and one side happened to win them, not usually the side I'm on. But the Brexit referendum wasn't like that. The Leave campaigns tried to claim it would be an economic success. 99% of economists said it would be a disaster, and they explained exactly how. The Leave campaigns claimed it would be a social success, but experts in that field also debunked the idea. They claimed it would be good for the NHS. Health experts explained how it would make accessing healthcare worse. No matter what the Leave campaign said would improve, virtually every expert said the opposite. There were no finely balanced arguments. The expertise was all one way. Yet the vote went the other. It's one thing for people not to trust politicians, I thought. But why has a majority of those taking part in the vote also decided to disbelieve 99% of experts? So I started to learn. I've discovered some of the reasons in recent videos, but understanding the problem doesn't solve the problem. After all, we can't get the whole country to understand how Farage is taking advantage of our lizard brains, our hunter-gatherer evolution. The answer is not just to say that Farage is wrong. The country is not as tribal as America, but it is getting that way. People are increasingly seeing themselves as in a group. If Farage is in their group and you aren't, you won't convince them he's wrong. It doesn't matter how calmly or how respectfully or how logically you engage. You are the outsider and birds of a feather flock together. I've had these discussions before, and you know what? No matter how calm you are, no matter how much you point out, they'll just get angry and run away. I've had people run away from me just from a talk. We also know it's not enough to get independent experts to debunk Farage's claims. That used to be a good one a while ago. Even experts are not trusted as much these days. And unlike politicians, who as a group only have themselves to blame for the lack of trust, expert institutions have not done anything to deserve the lack of respect they're getting these days. So humour and ridicule. And this is where Billy Bragg got his pitch exactly right. Have a listen.
We're talking about Nigel Farage, yes, in his interview with Nick Farage on LBC yesterday, where he made the statement that he gave the impression he didn't trust scientists. He later said in the interview, when he was asked by Nick Farage why he believed that Sharia law was coming to Britain, he said he'd been told by a taxi driver. So he was willing to believe a Muslim taxi driver in Buckinghamshire rather than believe the scientific establishment when they're talking, this guy wants to be Prime Minister, you must be joking. We've already got...
Now, he could have focused on how ridiculous it is to disbelieve medical experts. Like, for most non-partisan people, most reasonable people, it's a fairly strong attack to ridicule Farage purely on his decision to say he doesn't really believe the scientific or medical experts. After all, what sort of logical person is going to say Donald Trump, a not very good property developer who bankrupted multiple casinos, previously thought an impossible task, knows more about medicine than the top doctors and medical researchers in America? And as for RFK Jr., As people are pointing out, even his own throat is trying to stop him talk. Why the hell would we listen to a word he says? But Bragg wasn't just appealing to the non-partisan logical crowd. He wanted his point to be understood by as many people as possible, even those who see themselves in Farage's tribe and who see Bragg as the outsider. He put it in a way which is best for disarming people's tribal loyalties. And the bit about believing a Muslim taxi driver was brilliant. He didn't bother to try to explain that we only have Farage's word for it, that this taxi driver even existed, because that works on logical people as well. You know, if someone makes a claim which sounds dubious, most of us require a bit more evidence than some guy I don't even know by name told me so. It's ridiculous. Oh, I was told this really remarkable thing by a guy I met for like 5 minutes. What? But that's an argument that doesn't work on tribal politics. Getting a tribe which is being conditioned to mistrust Muslims to reflect on the fact Nigel Farage has developed a worldview based on a Muslim he's just met and has never met since. That's quite a good line. I mean, you could probably analyse how effective Bragg's response was in granular anal detail. But the key point is that he counterpointed two ridiculous positions that combined in a way that was so ridiculous that it invites laughter more than outrage. It's not in your face. Bragg wasn't attacking Farage's supporters. That doesn't work. People trapped in tribal identity are like Lenny holding a pretty skirt. If you shout at them, they'll just grip harder. Bragg didn't shout at them. He ridiculed Farage. He basically isolated Farage from seriousness, which is how it's done. It's not easy, of course, but this is how it's done. At the Labour conference, Starmer's going to be attacking some of Farage's ideas, right? He's going to do it in a very serious way, which is not guaranteed to even win over all of the Labour Party faithful. What he needs to do is employ ridicule in a way which will not only unite everyone at the conference, but go beyond those tribal boundaries to transcend those boundaries. And the beauty of this is, he doesn't have to think on his feet to do it, nor any political leader who wants to employ this. You know, these lines can all be prepared in advance. Farage and Tice, they never think about their lines on the spot. That's why they get very irritable when journalists ask them follow-up questions they haven't prepared for, because they've gone in with their talking points that have been worked out with their strategists in advance. They get very, very upset when you go beyond their prepared lines. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.